guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a while. It's been a while though because I've literally been crazy busy and trying to hold everything together. So I'm back though, and I'm here to update you on my student teaching experience as it comes to an end. So I literally have 3 weeks in 2 weeks after this week, which today's Monday, so I have this week and then 2 more weeks and I'm done. And that is like crazy to think about because I feel like I just started. So I'm here to just update you on like my student teaching experience, how it's been, what to expect when you start to student teaching, and I hope that it can help you. So if you're new here, I am student teaching in the middle of a pandemic, and so we live in a pretty big city. Our like local public schools are not letting any like student teachers in their buildings, and so the rural schools filled up very fast with student teachers, and so I really didn't get a chance to have the opportunity to go into one of those rural schools unless I wanted to drive really far, and at that point it just worried me driving and like the weather and everything like that. And then also I was at the time wanting a second job or a job to make some income on the side, and I knew if I was traveling that wouldn't give me opportunity to work in the evening. I ended up not getting a job anyways, but that was one of the reasons why I chose to just stay in my local district and then student teach online virtually. So I have been student teaching virtually since January. So it's honestly not as scary as I thought. I have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cooperating teacher, my mentor. She is literally incredible, and she's been teaching for a while now. She went and offered to be virtual teacher online for first grade and this year, so that's what she's been doing, and then I got to join her in January. So another struggle or something that I was worried about going into student teaching is student teaching in the spring. When you come in new, you have to kind of adapt to them instead of like starting fresh in the fall where they adapt to you and your cooperating teacher. So that was another worry of mine, but my cooperating teacher made me feel so welcome, and so did the students, that I didn't really have any problems with that. I adapt well, and she set up her classroom with good classroom management, and the kids were honestly amazing, like no problems at all. So I felt like super comfortable in that aspect, and that was something that I was a little worried about. So I have some notes that I like want to go through and just talk about my experience student teaching, and I hope that this isn't like a tremendously long video. I kind of like to talk, but I'm going to try to like make this a shorter video so you guys will actually enjoy watching. Anyways, there I go again. So the first thing you want to do is just really go in and observe. So this is a conversation that my cooperating teacher and I had before I even started. So she said, like, what do you want to do when you first come in? Like, are you wanting to jump right in, teach lessons, or are you wanting to like just kind of hang low, observe, take notes, or do you want to read or things like that? I said I am like perfectly fine with like jumping in smaller ways. So like if I need to pull like a group to a breakout room, or if I need to like do read alouds, like I would love to do that. I said I want to like start making those connections with students, and I want to like dive in. I don't feel comfortable like teaching a lesson right off the bat, but I don't want to just sit back and observe. But so I did both. Like there was a happy medium. Like when she was teaching lessons, I was taking down notes. When like I took so many notes. Like I had a notebook just for note taking for student teaching, so I can go back and look through those notes. So I highly suggest taking notes, but also having that happy medium where you're not just sitting in the back like, you know what I mean, like awkwardly, and not like helping out in the classroom or doing things like that. So like you want to dive in, jump in, get making those connections, but you also want to make sure that you're making good notes so you know what to expect when you start taking over. So get a notebook and take good notes. Making connections is huge, not only in the classroom, but it was huge virtually. And I knew that might be a struggle for me to make connections with students over a screen. So my cooperating teacher and I really decided we wanted to work hard on that so I could make those connections with students, because that's something I really wanted to do. I knew that was important, especially for me to feel comfortable in the classroom and taking over. So we started, like just introducing myself to them. Like I made a little PowerPoint, like meet your student teacher. It was really cute and fun for them to be able to like see into my life and learn about me. But then I also like learned about them, and they shared some things that they wanted me to know about them. And then we took that a step further and we created like an assignment on Seesaw. Seesaw was one of our applications that we use a lot throughout virtual teaching for assignments and things like that and activities. So they were able to make like videos and collages of things that they wanted me to know about them, and then I could then go back and comment on those and connect with those students. And then also, since it is a first grade classroom, I was making voice recordings kind of to grade papers. So like an example, students would turn in their assignment and then you would like draw a smiley face or give them a score or give them a sticker or a stamp. Instead of doing that virtually, we had to go into Seesaw and then grade their assignments from there. And so instead of doing like smiley faces or things like that, I use my voice to record my message back to them. So they were getting really positive feedback from me, and so I was also able to build those connections in those ways. So I just encourage you to like do what you can to start making connections with your students. It's so important, even though it's not your classroom. So do it, even though it's kind of scary. Making sure you have a lesson plan book. I love my lesson plan book. I honestly didn't do too much research. Like I've had, so it's an Erin Condren lesson plan teacher book, and I've had her planners in the past. I love them, so I knew I wanted her teacher one. So I ordered that. My parents actually got that for my birthday, so thank you, Mom and Dad. And I absolutely love it. It's way bigger than I thought. It's huge, and like I literally couldn't be more happy, and it's personalized. And I actually have a whole video on my lesson plan book, so if you want to check that out, you sure can. So get your planner. I am an organized freak. Like literally everything needs to be organized and planned out for me to function. So I would highly recommend that planner. I think it did great. Now you might find another one that you like. Perfect, as long as it like fits your needs. That's all that matters, but you need one. So that was something like I knew I was gonna get one, but my program actually required one, and like I had to turn in like pictures of my lesson plan book. So not only did I use my lesson plan book, because for an example, it has like the months laid out for you. So it has like the whole month, but then when you go to actually, oh, sorry, I just showed you what I'm talking about. But when you go ahead and like plan your lesson, it has smaller space, which is great when you know what you're doing. But until you know what you're doing, till you know what you're doing, yeah. I needed more. planned with my teacher, but then I went back through and I wrote way more. Let me see if I can show you an example. Here's a blank template. So I laid out each subject, and then I was able to go in and like really detail my lesson, whereas in my lesson plan book, it was just pretty like straightforward, like reading this book or focusing on this in math. And then on this page, I was able to then go back in and like give my whole lesson, pretty much my details, and that helped me tremendously as well. It wasn't enough to get my thoughts down on in my lesson plan book, so I printed these out and I just keep my binder. So that's how I stayed organized with actual lesson plans. And then of course that your program will probably give you their own like lesson planning template that you needed to do. So I also had that to go on when I was planning lessons. So those are a few like tricks there, and what I used to like write down my lessons. So next is asking questions. I have never really struggled with this as a person or somebody in a job or anything. Like, I'm always really good about asking questions, and some people do struggle with that, and that's totally okay. But just know that this experience is for you, and the more you ask questions, the more knowledge you're going to gain and the more you're going to learn. And sometimes it's hard. You have to also put yourself in like the cooperating teacher's shoes and know that it's hard getting a student where you don't know what they already know, you don't know really their experience that much, and then teaching them to be a teacher. So like you can imagine that is probably difficult for them. So making sure that when you have questions, you ask them. And I just hope that everyone has a awesome cooperating teacher like I did, and we're so open to those questions, even if they were silly questions, and then make you feel comfortable for asking those questions and make you feel valid for asking those. So I just encourage you, as like you're taking those notes and observing your teacher, that you're also writing down questions to ask later on. I literally don't know how many sticky notes I've gone through with just questions that I just like jotted down really quick. And then we have set aside every day that we just talk over everything, whatever we feel need to, and that's when I can bring up those questions, and she's there to answer them for me. And so I just really encourage you. And if you can't ask your cooperating teacher that question, then I encourage you to reach out to your professors or your people in your program to ask them. They're also a really good resource to use. So my next one is start slowly taking over. So in my program, I have a 16 weeks. So about halfway through, I started taking over slowly. So each subject each week I would take over. I started out with taking over science, and then math, and then like our phonics program, and then reading, and I took over like morning meeting. And so then there was a 3-week period where I had taken over everything. So I was the lead teacher, and it went wonderful. I was really nervous, but it really went so fast. This whole experience has gone so fast, and I was just fine because I slowly took over. I asked those questions, I got feedback, and I took that feedback and actually applied it to what I was doing. So that's also really important, is asking questions, taking in feedback, and then going back in and fixing what you need to fix, or just getting more info, just learning. Like, this experience is about learning, so make sure that you're doing that as a student. So so slowly taking over those things really helped me. I know that every program is different, but that's just literally kept me stress-free, is knowing my plan and knowing when I'm going to take over, discussing that with my cooperating teacher, and then doing it. And it's worked amazing. So I've haven't really had any stress except being nervous. Have a countdown. So that's just kind of like similar to what I said. I have this whole document as my countdown. My program has provided me with it, and it's just week by week, everything that I need to do or things that are due. And I just started highlighting as I went through. I marked when I was taking over each subject, and I just like even scribbled through it. Like down here is when I ended my 3-week taking over as the lead teacher, and I was like, oh, that's done, perfect. Like I don't have much to go, and so now I'm down to 1 week and of just like things to submit, and I am finished. So that was super, super helpful. It went really fast, but a countdown is always a good thing. I already talked about getting feedback. So not only do you want feedback from your cooperating teacher, but you want feedback from your supervisor, and you want feedback from peers and even students. So you just want to be a sponge. Take that feedback and just soak it all in, and then go and make yourself better. So super, super important. Use your resources is another one. So and by that I just mean like there's so many cool things online that you can find, and your lessons don't have to be like amazing and great, but just use those creative skills, look for resources and use them. Like that's totally okay to use resources that you find. I have used so many things off Teachers Pay Teachers already that are just free and that I find on Pinterest. And I think that's just because of I'm new. Like I don't have these resources to use or get. I can't like go down the hall and talk to the other first grade teacher about what things they have. Like I'm at home teaching, so being able to use those resources and find them is good. And then giving things back. So at this point, I've pretty much almost gave back everything except one thing that I'm going to continue to teach, because we split our students into 2 groups, so we're both teaching it. Excuse me. So that's the only thing that I still need to give back, and I've agreed to just keep doing that because that's what's working for the students till I'm finished. And at that point, by the time you give everything back and the time you leave is when you have like the utmost confidence in yourself, in your teaching, and then by that time it happens, you're applying for teaching positions, and your confidence almost goes right back down, is what it's feeling like. But know that your confidence is there, know the experience that you have had and what you have learned, and just take all that and try to be as confident as you can, even though it's like crazy hard. While you're doing all those things and creating assignments and creating lessons and creating activities and creating connections, and also like doing coursework for your college classes, you're also going to want to start thinking in the future. This is something I wanted to do a little bit sooner than I did, but everything worked out, and so it's fine. But creating your teaching portfolio. So I ended up just paying a small amount. You don't have to pay anything, honestly. There's so many resources out there that are free and you can use or create yourself. I decided to purchase a portfolio template, and I just made like my resume pretty, my cover letter pretty, and then my portfolio, so it all matched, and I put together my portfolio. So you just want to be thinking about that as you're going through. It'll be more comfortable, and you'll have more confidence in it probably towards the end of your student teaching, but have that in the back of your mind that that's something that you need to create. Because when you go in for interviews, you want that with you. Or for an example, I had everything in my portfolio. So if like a smaller district didn't have like a website where you could apply online, and I had to email them like my resume and things, I just emailed them my whole portfolio. And I mean, they could easily go through it and find what they need or what they don't need. So being able to create that is helpful. And then you want to start asking for letters of recommendation, something that I wish I would have did a little bit beforehand. I missed out on 2 job opportunities because I was waiting on a letter of recommendation, so that really stunk bad. But I did, and I'm gonna tell you now that you are gonna want to ask for more than you need. So I found out that most jobs require 3 letters of recommendation, but I asked for 5. And that's because 1 took a while for them to get to me, so at least I had the other 3. Another one, I didn't really want to tell you guys this, but another one kept spelling my name wrong, or actually, it wasn't even that they were spelling it wrong, it was that they kept forgetting to change out a prior name to my name, and so it had another student in my class's name, and so I didn't end up even being able to use that letter because I asked her to change it twice, and on the 3rd time I was just done. I was like, I don't really even want to use your reference now because it's not it doesn't feel like you really thought those things about me, and it's not the word I'm looking for is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. Anyway, so being able to ask for more references than you need just in case. So having that. So for example, I used my cooperating teacher. She was so kind to be able to write me one before I even stopped student teaching. I asked a prior employee that I worked really closely with in the school system. I asked 2 professors of mine, and then I asked a supervisor previously of mine. So having more than you need is always good. Next, making sure that you're applying for jobs. So it was March and people were having job opportunities out. So just keep an eye out. I am checking jobs every single day now. It's April 19th. So from March to, through the summer, these job opportunities are popping up like crazy. Right now it's crazy, especially in the middle of April. People are really wanting to get going on these job opportunities and posting them. So it's never too early to start looking. Again, like these jobs were coming available in March. That's when I missed those 2 job opportunities that I really wish I would have applied for. Still upset with myself about that one, but maybe it wasn't meant to be. So just making sure that you're looking for those jobs and you're applying, because they come fast and your student teaching goes by fast, and just when you're comfortable, you get thrown with a new thing like applying for jobs and being able to prepare for interviews, which is a whole nother upload that I can give you guys, is preparing for interviews and having interviews. So I look forward to bringing that to you guys next. And then my last note is just to breathe. Just step back, take a breath, because you got this. You've made it this far. You know you're in the right profession. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard, and you just have to smile, breathe, and keep learning, because that's why we're in this. We're here to learn, and so just think of this opportunity as a place to learn. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to be this great, amazing teacher and have these amazing lessons. No, you're here to learn. You're here to create your lessons and then get feedback from them and learn how you can make them better. You're here to learn all the things. So just remember that you're here to learn. And so I hope this video helps. I hope that if you're going into student teaching, you're excited. I apologize that I can't give you guys more input on what it would look like in a classroom, but if I can do student teaching virtually with first graders, you guys can for sure student teach in seat no matter what grade and age. So keep that in mind, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Next video will be all about teaching interviews, so stay tuned for that one. All right guys, we will see you in the next one.